please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Hello and welcome to Global Opportunities Hong Kong, a CNBC special. Hong Kong is one of the region's top centers for trade, finance, shopping, and entertainment. But global economic conditions are shifting and Hong Kong must do more or risk losing out to other cities in China and the rest of Asia. In the next 30 minutes, we take a look at how Hong Kong can adapt to connecting one country, two systems, and three regions. And the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge, which could cost over $15 billion to build, is a key piece of the plan. The Hong Kong section of the mega bridge behind me will be ready for commissioning by the end of this year, but the three jurisdictions have yet to decide on the opening day. More than 7 years in the making, the planning and construction of the bridge have been far from smooth, plagued by delays, industrial accidents, and technical difficulties.
One of them, particularly on the height restriction, we are quite close to the airport runway, and we have been conducting non-destructive testing of the whole bridge and related structures. And at the moment, the results are satisfactory.
The bill for the Hong Kong section of the link has hit over $7.5 billion. The city is committing another $1 billion to build the main bridge. The rest will come from governments of China and Macau and from bank loans. The final construction bill is almost certain to exceed forecasts, but the Hong Kong government has yet to disclose exactly how much more it needs to fork out. While critics question the project's viability due to its high cost, there's hope that Hong Kong will reap the returns eventually. The Greater Bay Area's GDP already hit $1.4 trillion last year. Beijing aims to triple it by 2030. But analysts say a lot will ride on the coordination of the three governments.
We have three currencies, we have three customs, we have three legal systems, and all these are barriers. And we are hoping that the central government will have a number of policies to release that kind of restrictions so that the entire Greater Bay Plan will be implemented successfully over the next 5, 10, or 15 years.
It's a mega market in waiting for Hong Kong and its neighbors, if China can deliver. It's the trillion-dollar project that many want a piece of. China's One Belt, One Road initiative has been touted as a scheme that could transform global trade and boost Beijing's growing political power. This modern-day Silk Road aims to connect more than 60 countries, covering 1/3 of the world's GDP and around 4.5 billion people. The project has presented some extraordinary opportunities, and many governments around the globe, including Hong Kong, are competing to play a part. Hong Kong wants the role of a super connector, linking investors in Asia, Middle East, and Europe. MTR Corporation is one of many Hong Kong firms looking to cash in on One Belt, One Road. The company, which runs the territory's subway, carrying over 5 million passengers every day, is looking to boost its global growth riding on the scheme.
MTR has actually been investing in some Belt and Road countries for a long time. Now we are looking at some developing countries because we have a lot of requests for MTR to participate in these developing countries. We are super cautious though. We are very prudent as an investor.
Critics fear One Belt, One Road projects will offer little to locals, while loading up banks and communities with dangerous debts. Investors are lining up to inject capital into this ambitious scheme. China's government has committed $100 billion, but that won't be nearly enough.
The way we look at it is that you need the whole world's resources to try and get the Belt and Road really up and running. We're now just scratching the surface.
The original Silk Road helped boost global trade for hundreds of years. China hopes this 21st century version will do the same, and Hong Kong wants to help turn it into reality. China's Belt and Road Initiative was recently included in the Communist Party's constitution, making it a national priority. We spoke to Frederick Newman from HSBC about the project and asked him about the significance of Beijing's move.
It just shows how important it really is to Xi Jinping personally, right? It's his brainchild, sort of building bridges and roads and tunnels into neighboring countries, building a broader pan-Asian economy, if you will. And it's part and parcel of this idea that China is now starting to assert itself, or kind of live up to its broader role in the global economy. So Belt and Road is here to stay. It's not just a fluke of the last few years. This is going to be here for a while.
This is going to be written in history as part of Xi Jinping's legacy. But with this trillion-dollar mega infrastructure project, what challenges do you foresee?
One is to find, enough projects in a very short term. Implementation is key, so you can make the money available, and we know there's plenty of needs of infrastructure, but actually get these shovel-ready projects, to get the approvals, to get the land that's needed, that's going to be very tricky.
Now, we have 65 countries, including China, participating in this massive project. That's 62% of the world's population and 30% of economic output. How much do you expect this is to boost the global economy?
It's certainly going to help, but it's not so much just about the actual investment money, right? You could say $1 trillion over 10 years, that's a lot of sort of investment capital. But what really is going to make the big difference here is the more dynamic aspect. Once you build a port, then you see increased trade. Once you have a power station in place, you're going to see more economic activity. So it's more that dynamic aspect. And that requires not just investment, but also regulatory changes, economic reforms. But if that falls into place, it could give you a material boost.
Still ahead, a look at how Hong Kong is getting in on the action on the cryptocurrency front. Plus, our coverage of Hong Kong FinTech Week, all coming up next. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, you name it. The rise of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology are generating a number of new opportunities for Hong Kong and the rest of the world. Now, Hong Kong is home to more than a dozen cryptocurrency exchange centers, just like this one, where customers can trade their digital currencies for other assets. Jehan Chu, one of the early investors of cryptocurrency in Hong Kong, says the city's investment only makes up a small portion of a space that's worth over $100 billion. But it is quickly emerging as a frontrunner in the cryptocurrency race.
Hong Kong is in the center of Asia for the development of blockchain technology and cryptocurrency trading, I would say. Hong Kong has rapidly started to take the lead, I think, in many of the other jurisdictions in Asia, including Singapore, including Tokyo, including Shanghai, and now rapidly including Seoul as well. But Hong Kong offers a diversity of professional industries that support the growth and utility of blockchain technology.
Hong Kong is a gateway to China in many aspects. Could the same be true for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency?
Oh, I think that Hong Kong has a slightly different role. I think at this point maybe 5 of the kind of top 10 global exchanges by volume for cryptocurrency are actually located in Korea or Japan. At the same time, here we are at OKCoin, OKLink, which also is one of the top 10 exchanges, and we see that the activity and the significance of Hong Kong starts to take a whole different type of opportunity, still as a gateway to Asia, not only a gateway to China.
While countries like China and South Korea have taken steps to restrict cryptocurrencies, authorities in Hong Kong still allow digital token launches. However, if an initial coin offering or ICO is deemed to be an offer of securities, it would be subjected to the city's securities laws.
We hear a lot that people will say that no law applies to blockchain technology and distributed ledgers because you've got different people involved in making decisions, that it's all online and that no law therefore applies. The message we have is that there is a lot of law that applies. And rather than it being no law because it's everywhere, it means that there's a lot of law and there's a lot of overlapping law and regulation. And it means that some of that law will come into conflict over time. And it means that it may well be that there'll be legal position that you have in one country that conflicts with your legal obligations in another country.
Despite a long list of legal questions waiting to be answered, investors' interest in blockchain technology and cryptocurrency remains strong. An ICO in Hong Kong recently raised $36 million, and more token launches are expected. About 3,000 executives from around the world attended Hong Kong FinTech Week recently to talk about the future of financial technology. Joining me now is Simon Long. He's the founder and CEO of WeLab. He brought Hong Kong its first P2P lending pure online lender. Now, 4 years in, Simon, how has the landscape changed and how are things going? It must be a much more crowded space.
Yes, thank you, Emily. I think the Hong Kong fintech scene has evolved greatly over the last 4 years. Hong Kong being an international financial center, naturally we have deep pool of financial services talents, and we've been able to attract from government, private sector, policymakers on how do we grow fintech as a global hub for fintech. So I think it's growing a lot, and you can see the turnout today here. We have announced a new cooperation with one of the largest telco in Hong Kong, 3HK, to provide a fully mobile lending experience in Hong Kong as well. So it's very, very exciting. So right now we're getting around, every 1.2 seconds we get a new borrower.
So how do you manage to keep on top of delinquency rates, the fact that you don't meet your actual customer and things are approved in such a short amount of time, 21 seconds?
It's all done through technology. I think when you are getting an applicant every 1.2 seconds, it's all about technology, automation, analytics. So our competitive advantage is how do we analyze unstructured mobile data in order to do very deep profiling of individuals. And that allows us to scale very fast. And right now, majority of the applications are done through automatic approvals.
Paying with smartphones is going to be a lot easier, and of course definitely the way of the future. We're talking about financial disruption, and one player in the insurance industry, Aviva, is looking to be a big disruptor. Aviva Asia's executive chairman as well as the group chairman of Aviva Digital, Chris Wei, joins us now for an interview to talk a little bit about the traditional insurance sector, but you guys are really shaking things up. Earlier this year, you joined hands with the likes of Tencent and Hill House Capital to bring your insurance company completely digital. How's that going 10 months on?
Well, we're going through regulatory approval now. So the clock really started ticking June 26th when the OCI became the insurance authority. That application is going well. We're hoping, fingers crossed, to a fairly rapid approval in the coming months. And we're getting ready for a launch in the new year. So absolutely the intent is to kind of look at all the bits that are difficult for people in terms of that insurance purchase journey. So the three of us came together and really wanting to bring our respective expertise to fundamentally disrupt that experience. So what might that look like? First of all, it's going to be all mobile digital device. You're going to be coming to us through, let's say, the WeChat platform. We're still working out the details, but the intent is for it to be absolutely digital. We're trying to make that application experience maybe 5-10 seconds, right? Maybe new technology that we're working on that will allow one to use identity validation at the same time as underwriting, whether it's through a photograph or through some other mechanism.
Now, of course, Aviva is operating across 16 different markets, but is this only going to be available in Hong Kong?
Well, the partnership with Tencent and Hill House is definitely Hong Kong for now. You know, personally, I would love it to expand beyond there, but Aviva has its largest digital business in the UK. You know, and that's partly because of the regulatory environment. You know, most people will start their general insurance purchase journey digitally, and we've done a lot of work engaging our existing customers. Are difficult for people in terms of that insurance purchase journey. So the three of us came together and really wanting to bring our respective expertise to fundamentally disrupt that experience. So what might that look like? First of all, it's going to be all mobile digital device. You're going to be coming to us through, let's say, the WeChat platform. We're still working out the details, but the intent is for it to be absolutely digital. We're trying to make that application experience maybe 5-10 seconds, right? Maybe new technology that we're working on that will allow one to use identity validation at the same time as underwriting, whether it's through a photograph or through some other mechanism.
Now, of course, Aviva is operating across 16 different markets, but is this only going to be available in Hong Kong?
Well, the partnership with Tencent and Hill House is definitely Hong Kong for now. You know, personally, I would love it to expand beyond there, but Aviva has its largest digital business in the UK. You know, and that's partly because of the regulatory environment. You know, most people will start their general insurance purchase journey digitally, and we've done a lot of work engaging our existing customers, so that's been a fantastic business.
Just ahead, how Hong Kong is coping with the changing face of retail and the bricks to clicks disruption. That's coming up next. After a dismal 2015 and 2016, prospects for Hong Kong's retail sector appear to be looking up. Sales grew moderately in July and August, thanks to robust local consumption and improving tourist flow. PwC is hopeful that the positive trend will continue and expects at least a 5% growth in retail sales this year from a year ago.
If US currency goes down, which means Hong Kong currency goes down, then we will have the beneficial edge. I still think Hong Kong in the next 10 years will be still able to do well. In particular, I would say after 18, we will see a quite significant comeback.
It's a sentiment shared by the Greater China chief of the Fossil Group, who remains upbeat about the future of retail in Hong Kong.
Some of the highest traffic flow stores we have globally are here in Hong Kong. I think it remains a billboard for customers from mainland China, but also for international customers visiting Hong Kong.
But the downside, she says, is Hong Kong's high rental rates. While rents for high street stores have declined compared to 2 years ago, it is still challenging to make healthy profits in key locations in the city, forcing even luxury retailers to rationalize their store strategy. This is one of Hong Kong's key shopping districts. Swanky luxury stores used to dominate the retail landscape here in the past. But now we're seeing more outlets of a different kind: fast fashion, lifestyle, and convenience stores. The changing retail landscape are driving policymakers to push Hong Kong's competitive edge, not just as a retail market, but also the preferred city for regional headquarters, innovation, and design centers. One of Hong Kong's biggest selling points is its tax system. Hong Kong has a big pull for Chinese tourists because goods purchased here are generally cheaper compared to mainland cities. But some say the price gap is narrowing.
One is the duty has gone down, and also the brands, they have a global pricing policy rolled out to try to control the pricing discrepancy between territories. Thirdly is because of the currency, Chinese currency softened right now, so all those things help to close the gap.
JD.com has just launched a platform offering luxury brands an exclusive delivery service for Chinese shoppers to entice big spenders to shop online.
Many brands are looking at rationalize their locations to maximize their productivities, but online being a channel is emerging because the consumer already shifting their shopping behavior to online right now. So it is the moment luxury goods is waiting for.
But analysts said brick and mortar is still a key part of luxury shopping, and Hong Kong's position as a springboard for high-end retail remains intact, especially if rents were to stabilize further. As Hong Kong's retail business comes under pressure, the city wants to encourage investment in another sector, pushing growth in the cultural and creative industry. The gateway to China and an Asian financial hub, but Hong Kong is now working to cultivate a new image as the region's design capital. Creative and cultural industries contributed some $14 billion to Hong Kong's economy in 2015, about 5% of its GDP. And to keep the cash coming in, the city needs to nurture and attract more creative talent. While the government wants to boost Hong Kong's creative image, critics say some mainland Chinese cities are threatening Hong Kong's ambition in the area. Take the neighboring Shenzhen. Its cultural and creative industries contributed over $28 billion to the city's economy last year, twice that of Hong Kong. But the recently retired principal of the Hong Kong Design Institute believes that the harbor city still has a lot to give.
A bit of history, a bit of culture, a bit of uniqueness, all of these things that are made Hong Kong special, and Hong Kong has that. East-West, post-colonial, really compared to most Chinese cities, including Shenzhen, Hong Kong is cool. Many cities, let's say Tokyo, Paris, Milan, New York, they're cool. And that is where all the creatives would congregate. Hong Kong the same.
It's a sentiment shared by Eric C., a product designer who made his home in PMQ, former police quarters that were converted to become the city's design hub about 3 years ago. He said if given a choice on where to base his life's work, he would still choose Hong Kong.
I think Hong Kong designers are more international minded because Hong Kong is very small So we need to explore more.
But Lucy Shi, a fashion-turned-accessories designer, said Hong Kong does face the risk of losing its edge as a magnet for creative talent. The 30-year industry veteran has seen plenty of changes in her home city due to competition from China.
In the mid-90s, there's still a lot of ball and a lot of event that's going on in Hong Kong. But after 1997, all these events has moved to China, like to Shanghai, Beijing. Some of my students start up their workshop and studio in China. They found that it's more opportunity and easier.
High rentals and the cost of operations in Hong Kong are barriers to growth for young designers, and some are calling on policymakers to act.
I hope they start doing a little bit more to provide a better environment for the young designer. For young people, if they've got a space, they can do something that they really want to. I think they will work hard.
The government is responding, providing dedicated art spaces, nurturing young talent, and hosting international events.
I firmly believe the magic is money and support and opportunity, because this is Hong Kong.
A necessary measure and part of a larger push to turn Hong Kong into Asia's design capital. For more on this, Bernie Lowe speaks to Ben Clark, Deputy Chairman of Christie's Asia.
The fact that you were sent from London to helm Hong Kong says a lot about Hong Kong and what's going on in Asia for you, right?
Absolutely. I was very privileged when Guillaume Charuti, our new CEO, decided to relocate me from London. Having been 17 years in the art market, Guillaume and Christie's has a commitment to Asia. I think corporately we fully believe that Asian collectors will write the future narrative of the global art market.
Why is that? What is it the accumulated mainland wealth that is still looking for places to park, that hasn't been unleashed on the world, or does it go beyond the borders of China?
It definitely goes beyond the borders of China. Hong Kong is our hub in Asia and will remain our hub in Asia for the foreseeable future. We have 10 offices around Asia and a sale room not only in Shanghai but here in Hong Kong. And we have exhibition rooms and galleries in Beijing and Tokyo. In terms of Asia being the hub and Chinese buyers, there's no doubt Chinese collectors are significant players in terms of patronage and collectors overall in the market. But we see big collectors coming out of Japan, but also Hong Kong, Taipei. It really is a pan-Asian endeavor.
But there was a time when mainland interest seemed to wane a little bit. The prices were leveling off, plateauing a bit. But we haven't seen that in all classes, right? Jewelry, for instance, continues to be very, very strong. Hong Kong is the #2 hub in the world, is it not?
Absolutely, after Geneva. And that may have something to do with the tax efficiencies of Geneva and Hong Kong.
Right.
And I think that commercial infrastructure that Hong Kong has, whether it be around taxes, banks, or indeed the legal system, Hong Kong is a significant and world-class sort of dispute resolution center. And I think that's important for any collector or patron or indeed artist when they're transacting art or jewelry.
Is there a possibility that Hong Kong could lose that attraction as a hub, or is Hong Kong always going to have that mantra? Is it always going to have that premium attached to it because of rule of law and dispute resolution?
For the time being, I certainly don't foresee Hong Kong losing that hub. The art market is dictated around convening moments, and Hong Kong has got a fantastic opportunity to convene with the West Kowloon Cultural Centre, with M+, with museums coming here from Beijing in the next few years. And it is the magic combination of having patrons, artists, cultural dialogue in one place that will, in my mind, keep Hong Kong being a very centre within Asia.
And that wraps up this edition of Global Opportunities Hong Kong. I'm Emily Tan. Thanks for watching.